review.
Welcome back to another episode of Put the Phone Down, where me and Meg, we've got a few topics we'd like to discuss. The idea of this podcast is we just put our phone down for an hour and we talk about trending topics, anything that we've come across during the week.
Yep.
Make sure to like, subscribe. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all that jargon. So yeah, hope you enjoy. Meg, you've got something you want to discuss that you mentioned to me earlier.
I have, yeah. So the most recent thing I've been reading about in the news recently is Instagram testing out removing likes from people's profiles and pictures, whatever. So they've been doing it since, I think it was about May this year, and they've rolled it out to a few different countries, just testing it, so it's not set yet, but I think places like Australia, Japan, I think even Ireland have been kind of being tested for this new thing that they're rolling out. And I've heard that it's moving a lot towards the US at the moment, so they're doing a lot more testing there to see kind of what happens on Instagram when you start removing how many people have liked stuff.
Right.
There's a lot of discussions going on about it because obviously people's businesses are on Instagram.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It's how people make a living. Some people make a living on Instagram. So it's a very controversial subject, but something that they're testing out at the moment and something that could be tested out quite soon in the UK as well. So it's quite a big thing to happen with Instagram, really, because so many people's content revolves around how many likes they're getting.
Yeah.
And I think the aim that Instagram, what they're looking to get out of it is for people to create content that's more meaningful and actually think about what they're posting instead of just posting something for likes, because they know that if they post this, it's gonna blow up and get however many likes. And I guess that was never the main aim for Instagram, because they want people to be posting proper, real content, valuable content that people really think about sharing before just popping something on just to get likes. I know for me personally, I hardly get any likes. When I get like 40 likes, I'm like, yes, and that's usually because you're in it. So for me, it doesn't faze me in the slightest that likes might be removed from Instagram. But I guess for even maybe our business and things like that, and other people's businesses, it can affect it.
It is a weird one because it's like you say with Instagram, organic reach for me has dramatically decreased over the past couple of weeks. And I read a report online that since they've done these tests, that organic likes and stuff like that has dropped dramatically in the countries that they've tested it out at. So these people who are like mainly focused on Instagram as like the main driver for business.
Yeah.
I can imagine it really really affecting them kind of people.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think I was listening to something the other day. I'm not sure whether it was like someone else's podcast or not, because I do listen to quite a few. But it's like some people worried that Instagram might be, I don't know, dying out, or if they lose likes like this, how will it affect the platform as a whole? Will people stop using it because they don't like that new function and things like that?
Yeah,
it's kind of this big debate that's going on at the moment. But I think it's not... I quite like the idea because it doesn't put the kind of pressure on people to be posting stuff just to get however many likes.
No, I know what you mean.
And I think especially, I always say like maybe younger or more vulnerable or naive people, you know, if they're setting themselves these targets of getting however many likes and they don't because they're seeing influencers doing it and stuff, it can affect them.
Yeah, because I know a lot of young people, they left Instagram to move to things like Snapchat and TikTok.
Yeah.
I've just remembered, do you remember a while back, there was a thing on the news about Snapchat?
Yeah.
There was like so many consecutive plays or something, or
I'm
I've not used Snapchat that much, but I know in schools they were like, they were on like a snap streak of like 6,000, and then if someone broke, like the streak stuff.
Yeah.
And it caused a lot of like problems, but you don't hear of Snapchat that much, and everyone seems to have moved to TikTok.
Yeah.
Again, where organic reach is massive.
Yeah.
Now that Instagram have like eliminated the likes, well, that probably might get the youngsters moving back over to there because there's not as much pressure as getting as many likes and views and stuff like that.
It depends how people look at it, I guess. But what was I going to say then? I can't remember what I was going to say.
It's like even for like businesses, like when we've got like a product that we need to sell or a service we need to sell, we look at different influencers and seeing what their engagement rates like and the reach and all their insights. And because that like functionality is not there anymore, and it's probably reduced the amount of likes, it could affect them sort of people who use Instagram as, like I said, the main business, the main earner.
Exactly. But I guess the thing is that you've got to be cautious with any social platform, because things can change. But I think for me personally, doesn't affect me. It might affect people say who work solely on Instagram and that's what they go off. And I don't know. I can't make my mind up on whether it's needed or not. But I guess when it comes to mental health issues and stuff like that, it's just one more way.
It's obviously having an impact. Like it obviously doesn't affect you when you only get like a number of likes on your photo. Like, do you get any different sensation when you do get a lot of likes, or is it?
So I guess so. I don't know. I mean, I'm really not that bothered about it. But like, I've had the odd post where, like, when we got engaged and stuff like that, where for me, like, hundreds of likes, I'm like, whoa, I can't believe it. But that's a milestone.
Yeah, of course.
That's something that people
like you said before, but meaningful content.
Yeah, it's meaningful, and I think I've noticed on my own feed, because like I do follow a lot of influencers, mainly just to be a bit nosy, to be honest. But I've noticed that some of the stuff that they put on, I don't know, it's just like a selfie or something like that, and it's like, surely you've got so much more going on in your life, or like girls posing half naked just because they know it's going to get a lot of attention off other people. And it's not that valuable content anymore. And sometimes I scroll through and I think, God, like, I'm sick of seeing just these same old images or like ads and stuff like that, because I think this is a guess, but I think a lot of these businesses who pay influencers to do ads and stuff like that are hoping for a certain amount of likes and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly,
like the engagement rates.
So that not to be there anymore obviously might cause a bit of an issue.
Yeah, but then for people who get really sick of seeing the same influencers, like, for example, people from Made in Chelsea, as an example, and they're all giving the same ad, they're all giving the same thing to promote, all the same text, and it's just like, I'm scrolling through and I'm like, I don't know why this is being advertised so much.
Is that what it's like with all these influencers? They all have this. They get given text to publish.
I think so, because
or it's very similar stuff.
Yeah, because what I've noticed when I look at something that they've posted of their own that they want to post, and I'll look at an ad, and it's nothing like how they usually write.
Right. So
and it's a sales pitch, basically.
They've given like bullet points to say you need to say this, this, and this. Yeah,
and sometimes it's not all the time, but on the odd occasion, there's been a day where like 5 or 6 different influencers or like celebs will have been given a product, and they're all promoted on that same day, and it's like looking at exactly the same thing, just with a different face. So people like that, whether it's influencers or the businesses behind these products, will be affected by likes being removed from Instagram, if that does happen.
It's like when they do, they're going to eventually roll it out to all the places. They wouldn't have tested it this many times.
Well, exactly.
Because from one Instagram's point of view, they've said it's been a positive reaction.
Yeah.
But like, what is positive in their mindset? Is it?
This is the thing.
Like,
at the moment, I'm struggling to figure out how they're testing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, what's a positive result and what's a negative result?
Yeah.
Like, what have they used that as like a? Yeah. I don't know what the word is, but you know what I mean.
And how do they get them results? Yeah. Like, I don't really understand how. I mean, it is fairly new. Mm-hmm. They only started rolling it out in May, and I think I've noticed a few people mention it on Instagram, like bigger influencers saying that the likes had been removed. So it says, for example, Meg Unsworth liked this and others. So there's like no numbers there.
There's no numbers, but there's still people saying that they've liked it.
Yeah. And I think you can still click on others and like see how many people have actually liked it. So you can see there's a lot of people, but there's no actual figure.
Yeah, because I've actually not seen it happen yet on social media. I've not
seen it to one person in the UK.
Right. Because I just know from like past experience working with like these influencers that when I've asked to see their insights and stuff like that, they've been a bit annoyed with me, a bit like, why do you need to see them? Like, these are my likes, and they've sent me a screenshot of their Instagram page. I'm like, yeah, well, that's not really showing me your audience, like what country it is and all this sort of stuff. Like, really, the analytics sort of side of things. So there's going to be quite a lot of these influencers, I think, are going to get caught out who are probably buying likes and stuff like that, which is quite a common thing.
Yeah.
I think there is certain programs that analyzes your profile to tells you what your engagement rate is.
Yeah.
And I think them kind of apps are going to get more. They're going to use them more these days. Whilst all this like conspiracy with removing likes and all this sort of stuff.
I know what you
it
mean.
again comes to this like comfort zone. Everyone like are comfortable being on Instagram.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And I always say to you, like, being in a comfort zone is like the worst place to be, because when you're in a comfort zone, you just think, all right, we're sorted, and then all of a sudden you're relying on one social media platform.
Yeah.
Instagram come out, give this update to the algorithm, and all that organic reach is pretty much dead, which is forcing you to pay for advertisement. Then they bring out this, like I said, the removing the likes side of things. There's a lot of influencers who just have got a following on Instagram and nothing else.
Exactly.
So it's kind of worrying for them kind of people who are living this lifestyle of flashy cars and all the nice clothes because they're purely on Instagram. But then if something does change, or touch wood, if Instagram goes down, what do they do then?
Exactly. I think the issue is that people have solely relied on one social platform to get them where they are today. And if that changes, how are they going to change with it? So I have noticed a few people starting to use TikTok and stuff like that because they can see that this is the up-and-coming trend. And whilst, I don't know, initially it might feel a bit like cringy doing these like silly videos and stuff, that's what's going to get out there, because TikTok is like probably the biggest platform at the moment.
Yeah,
for the
it's the
younger
biggest
generation.
spike. It's like the biggest growth, sorry.
So it's just making sure that you can adapt to the future and you know what's going to come up, because there might be a point where Instagram does die out and I've heard people like freaking out about it a bit, and it's like, well, you have to move with the times.
That's
and
the thing,
TikTok's
it's
coming up,
getting out your comfort zone.
You have to do
Talking
it.
about people staying with one social media platform, there was a YouTuber who was cheating on Fortnite or something, one of the FaZe clan. It was like, there's like a group of like YouTubers who are all gamers in America called the FaZe clan. I don't know much about them, to be honest. I just know they make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting banned for life off Fortnite for cheating online while streaming. He had to move out of the house that he was in. He's lost loads and loads of money.
Yeah.
Just because he was so heavily invested into one platform.
Yeah.
On one game that was how he grew his following, as far as I'm aware. Soon as that was stripped away from him, that was it. It was like, what now? Then he had to move back home to the UK and this sort of stuff. Yeah. So it's like you say, some of these Instagram models who are so heavily invested into Instagram, the second that gets stripped away from them, then what?
Yeah.
So they need to get out of the comfort zone. Like I said, TikTok, the content that's on there at the moment, I can't stand it, but I can see the appeal for it for the younger audience.
Yeah, and I think it will change as well going forward.
I think so. I think TikTok have obviously seen how popular it's getting, and they'll probably try to age it up with the marketing strategies. If you notice, all over Facebook now, there's TikTok adverts.
Yeah.
There's TikTok adverts quite well all over the internet.
Yeah.
So they're obviously trying to target older audiences to move over to that platform.
Yeah, definitely.
But it goes on, like I say, just being in your comfort zone. You need to step out of that, and we've been having this conversation quite a lot about being in our comfort zone and how we can try and step out of the comfort zone, because we know when we're out of that comfort zone, that's how we tend to excel.
Well, that's the thing, I think, because we've lived quite a different life since we got together, and having spent some time in Malta and stuff like that, which was completely out of our comfort zone, but like the best thing that we ever did.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So obviously, like with us now living back in Adlington, which is our, it's our home, it's the village that we grew up in and stuff like that, but we know ourselves we need that extra push to try something else. So like we've been talking about recently, moving out to Manchester and kind of like breaking the field there with the business and things like that. And that is probably the best thing that we could do.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Going
there's
forward
even the
now.
Vienna option. There's loads of different. There's so many different things going on at the moment to kind of rule something out by just staying in Adlington.
Exactly, yeah.
We need to keep our options open.
And that's the same thing. I mean, there's definitely people who I see on social media who I think will probably stick on Instagram until it does die out, and they'll die out with it.
Yeah.
But I know that there's a lot of people who, when I've been listening to these podcasts, 'cause I know Pretty Little Thing do a podcast with a lot of the social media influencers, which I do listen to. Sometimes I'm really like on the fence with influencers.
Yeah.
Because I love it when they do all their authentic stuff, and I love following that. But then sometimes it can really annoy me with all the ads and stuff like that they're doing. And I understand that's their job and whatever. But
what type of ads is it that annoys you though?
It's the one, I guess, it's more the ones that
are like teeth whitening stuff. The
like,
ones that like really obvious.
Yeah, and it's like stuff that would change your appearance and all this kind of stuff, which I don't like because, as I've spoke about before, like the diet teas and all that kind of stuff, I hate it. But I was listening to the Pretty Little Thing podcast, and they were talking about it on there. And a lot of the women who they speak to, and men, I think there's a few guys on there as well, they've said, you know, they'll probably get to a point, like age-wise, where they think, I don't want to be stuck on Instagram anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want to be an Instagram influencer anymore because I'm 30 odd, you know, I've kind of got past that kind of point in my life, and they're doing different things now, so they're building a future from what they've got now and creating clothing brands and all that kind of stuff. So it is 100% about moving with the times.
No, of course,
and that's what a lot of people are doing it, but some people won't, because some people can't adapt to change that much.
Definitely, yeah.
And that's been their whole life since like Instagram started. So
it's interesting.
Yeah, it is
I think there'll always be a place for Instagram. Like when you mentioned it'll die down, it won't die completely, because I still think Instagram's like purpose was like to show like art. Do you know what I mean? Like photography, getting like different mood boards and stuff like that. I think that sort of stuff on Instagram will always be very popular, because it's where I go for inspiration. I see a lot of people posting blogs on there, like little mini blog articles, getting value. But that's just from what content I always follow. I don't follow that sort of influencer style thing, because it just doesn't interest me really. So I like looking at stuff, and when I'm scrolling through social media, like I said, gaining value from the content I'm following. And I think a lot of people need to go down that route, rather than looking at someone who's got a nice car and nice clothes and feeling shit about it, basically.
Exactly, yeah. Well, that's the whole point. It's valuable content that people want to see, that enlightens you, that doesn't make you feel like rubbish. And it always comes back to who you decide to follow yourself on Instagram. So
did they give a date when they're going to be rolling out in the UK, removing the likes?
I'm not sure about the UK. I think
because they have tested it in the UK, haven't they? Or is it? I know they said it in Ireland. They did.
Well, it was weird because I didn't think they'd tested it out in the UK, but I have seen some UK influencers who have mentioned that their likes have gone. So maybe they have started. From what I've read online, it seems like at the moment they're focusing more on the US.
Mm-hmm.
As they've done Australia, they've done Japan, they've done Ireland, they've done a few different places. And the UK wasn't one of them, but I think they'll be, once they've done the US, I think they'll move on to the UK then and try and test it out there as well.
Because I saw a graph online, and it was like the average amount of likes per day.
Yeah.
And when they tested it in Brazil, they like dropped by 30% or something.
Yeah.
Because I saw I've not seen it on my Instagram, but I saw on the chart there was a UK thing, and it said it dropped like 1.7%.
Yeah, I think it was in comparison. So I think they were comparing the UK to the different countries that they tested it out.
Right, I'm with you.
I think that's how at the moment they're testing it out, but then there comes a point, it's like, right, so how do they test the UK? Who are they testing the UK against?
Yeah, of course.
So it's like trying to figure out what exactly, one, they're trying to achieve, and two, how they're going to achieve it, what results they're going to get and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's something to keep an eye on, because it's quite interesting. I think
it is interesting.
Interesting to see how trends change.
It's life at the moment. Everyone's lives are on it. Everyone's businesses are on it. This is why, I mean, we've not got the greatest following on Instagram. We do all right, but our audience, a quality audience, rather than just
very organic.
They're all business owners, so when we put something out, it's normally business owners that engage with it. People are interested in that field, rather than just getting numbers from everywhere. And it's the same with Facebook. We've not got the largest following on Facebook, but we know if we put a post out there, we'll probably only get, 600 to 1,000 people's reach. But we know that organically they're all business owners who are. It tends to be people we've worked with in the past who comment and engage on our posts.
Exactly.
Rather than just, someone from another country that we're never going to do work with in the future. And I think it's that people need to understand with social media. It's not all about following and likes. It's about who is liking your page and who is following you. Because at the end of the day, if you're using it for business, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and I think that's what it's like. If people start up a business and stuff like that, businesses take time, like so much time, and that's why we've Creative Individuals as a business has been running for a year. Obviously, you've been doing the work for a lot longer, but we can't expect to have this like huge following when we're a small business. We've got a few team members. We're a small business. At the moment, we're more local than we are international. We've got a few of our international clients who we work with, but we don't, like you said, we don't need that massive following. But maybe at some point when we've got a huge business in 5 years to come, we might have a huge following. You don't know.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
It's about the people who are following.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and it's what's the point of rushing it? Like we've managed to grow what we've grown already without spending a single penny on advertising.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's weird from a marketing agency to not have done that, but we just know that how effective targeted adverts are.
Yeah.
And if we was to put out these sort of adverts and they went absolutely mental and we had clients ringing us left, right and centre, we know that we won't be able to deal with the workload.
Exactly,
so it's all about doing it at the right time. I mean, I've worked with businesses and I've told them to do this and that. I've made a video for them. I've told them this is how you should get the best out of it. They've put the video out and they've had to cancel the ad because there's been too many people mentioning it, contacting them.
Yeah.
And they've said it's been too effective. Or on the other hand, I've had people where I've sent a video to them, they've posted it at 12 o'clock at night, and they've said to me, my video's only got 5 views. Why? So, well, you've posted the video when everyone's asleep, so what do you think? So, again, it's just knowing your social media platform and just, again, breaking out your comfort zone, finding out different platforms, and having knowledge in each platform. Again, TikTok is new to me. I've had a look through it. I've had a look at how it's run, like from an engine behind, like search engine optimization side of things, and it's interesting. It's just from like an organic reach point of view. I've never seen anything like it, and apparently LinkedIn's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Is if you notice on LinkedIn, a lot of people are posting like personal stuff rather than always business side of things. And I don't know where this shift has happened, but it's slowly shifting where a lot of the older generation are using it more for like a personal use rather than a business use.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's just interesting how you see social media's like move and manipulate. And you think about MSN, like that was a social media if you think about it.
Oh, I used to love MSN.
But that was massive. It was everyone was on MSN.
Yeah.
Whereas it now it's non-existent.
Exactly, I know.
So it does. These things do happen where, like you say, you keep thinking, oh, Instagram will never fail. It'll always be up there with the best, but
you never know.
You never know. MSN, BlackBerry Messenger,
you've got to be so prepared for that.
What was it? MySpace, Bebo.
Yeah.
All these different places that we used to like spend so much time online.
Yeah.
They're now non-existent.
Exactly.
It's going to happen again.
Yeah.
And it's just seeing that like the shift of, like I said, when like a new platform like TikTok comes in.
Yeah.
It's noticing that and being open and saying, right, well, obviously this is where people are going visiting. I need to move my audience from Instagram to this.
Yeah. Rather
than just going, no, I'm an Instagram because a lot of people say I'm an Instagram model.
Yeah.
Instagram influencer.
They do. Yeah.
So they're not going to say I'm a TikTok influencer.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know. I think there's a weird thing with TikTok at the moment is like people. Obviously, no one should ever be bothered what other people say about what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, if they want to go on TikTok and they want to make a video, do it. But there's this like thing at the moment where you know, for like our generation, TikTok's a bit childish or like it's a bit cringy and stuff like that. But it shouldn't be, because that's the next social platform. Like if you've got that mindset of, oh, I don't know why you're on TikTok, because why are you making these stupid videos and blah 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 blah, then you're not with the times.
Yeah.
Like having that new platform and creating content for a platform like that is going to propel you so much, because it's just widening your social reach. So it's worth it. And yeah, I hate that term Instagram influencer, because it's like you need to be more than that.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people put work into it, but they need to be more than
they need to be smart about it and utilise it in a way they can, like I said, grow their audience in other fields and start making money. Like I said, get a clothing brand.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of influencers do that, where they kind of go from being an influencer to having a clothing brand, and the clothing brand flops.
Yeah.
And it's just like you've just got to be careful of
definitely
how you choose to expand. So that's an end to another good podcast with me and Megan Unsworth. Make sure to subscribe, follow us on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Google Podcasts, YouTube, all that malarkey. But if there's anything else that you want us to just to discuss, that's it. If there's anything else you want us to discuss, email us, drop us a message, either put it in the comments down below. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you got a bit of value.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Another podcast done and dusted. How do we sound anyways? Do we sound any better with our new setup? We're always trying to improve it, by the way, so yeah.